Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Twisters. And this is from director Lee Isaac Chung and focuses on Kate, played by Daisy Edgar-Jones, who has a horrific experience chasing storms, trying to come up with a solution to dissipate and tame these twisters, these tornadoes, and years later winds up being roped back in by her former friend and colleague, Javi, played by Anthony Ramos, and they go off trying to use this new technology to graft tornadoes while coming to conflict or blows or, just being there out on the road with this group of more, salt of the earth type storm chasers led by Glenn Powell's Tyler Owens. And this film, I think, very interesting that Lee Isaac Chung directed this after something like Minari. And I don't think he's really directed anything of this scale before. He did do some Mandalorian episodes, or at least one, so got a little bit of that bigger budgeted kind of experience with that. And here, I think visually this film really works. The effects, for sure, of these tornadoes are incredible, and the devastation during the tornadoes, I think the visual effects generally work very well. And this has scale and spectacle, seeing twin tornadoes and giant flaming tornadoes as a tornado's ripping through an oil refinery. It has that. It's big. It's got the scale. I do think the climax of the film, you could definitely tell when they're in a space versus they're in a green screen place somewhere. And I feel like some of the final sequence in the small town of the film feels a little off in terms of a visual standpoint. You could really tell they're on a sound stage at times. But in general, I think the effects and the spectacle are some of the strongest things going for this film. I think the music from Benjamin Wallfish, there's some really dynamic compositions that they have for the score for this film, and I think the popular music and other music that they choose to use here too really works well too. It creates this atmosphere. I think this film has a lot of emotional weight because there's a harrowing opening sequence, and Edgar-Jones gives such a strong emotional and sure kind of performance that really anchors this film and gets us behind Kate. We empathize with her, we understand the plight she has been through, what she's trying to accomplish now, and we could get behind her. And you have Anthony Ramos, who you could definitely tell is conflicted with different motivations for his work and his feelings towards Kate, and I think Ramos does a great job of balancing all those kinds of emotions. But the charismatic one as hell is especially Glenn Powell, who honestly has some very vulnerable moments too, and you can feel the emotion, but he just charms the socks off of you. And this group of storm chasers that are with Glenn Powell's character Tyler Owens, they're a lot of fun too. Boone, played by Brandon Perea, Sasha Lane plays Lily, and Tunde Adebimpe plays Dexter, and Katie O'Brien plays Danny. I think that crew, despite the fact that they're not the most deep characters, are fun and enjoyable and have a lot of personality. Now you have David Cronensweet, the new Superman, and this crew of bland as bland can be characters working with Anthony Ramos's character. And I think the film starts off well, capturing some good friendship and strong connections with this group of friends at the beginning of the film in this opening scene that really blows you away. I do feel like some of the deaths in this film don't always have the same emotional weight and able to capture the same thing, but the tension and intensity that Lee Isaac Chung is able to capture is always there. There's a sequence at a rodeo I think is probably the best scene in the whole entire movie. It is intense, it is horrifying, it puts you on edge. And this film has an interesting idea of you have Kate trying to redeem herself and maybe complete her work and try to figure out a way to stop tornadoes, and her budding connection with Tyler Owens throughout the film is very endearing, and you really buy into it. And then you have like this bit of love triangle with Anthony Ramos' Javi kind of sticking around there. So there's some good human drama too, and it has a lot of things to say about certain elements of motivations of these storm chasers and stuff like that. And I think this film does a really fine job of capturing the more realistic elements of the science behind behind tornadoes. And there's moments where like this film really tries to clear up some misconceptions about tornadoes in an impactful way, despite the fact that like the trailers sold you on all these ridiculous things that wouldn't happen, and then the film subverts that and was like, yeah, that wouldn't happen, and it doesn't. And I thought that was an interesting thing. And my wife's super into storm chasers and into weather, and really appreciated how this got a lot of things right. In the end, I think this is a thoroughly entertaining, very engaging, well-acted film that has incredible special effects and spectacle. And boy, is this a worthy successor to Twister, the original film. Gotta throw that S on the end and throw in more Twisters. But those are my thoughts on Twisters. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.